Hey guys, my name's Ravi Sharma and I'm the founder and buyer's agent here at Search Property. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another episode of Search Property TV. Before we continue into today's video, which is actually a very exciting video, I've got Queenie. Invest with Queenie is her YouTube channel. You should definitely check it out. But we've got an interview today. She came over, we basically had it all set up and we discussed first home buyers, exactly how they can start and bring you guys some value. So a different voice, a different perspective, and by someone who's actually gone out there as a first home buyer and done it. I really want you guys to get some value from this video. But before we continue, I really want to make it a point here. Guys, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. And two, I am announcing something major in the next couple of days, so definitely subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you need our help, please book in a strategy session. There's a link in the description below. I don't want you to miss out this time. And now let's jump into the video. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming back onto the channel. My name's Ravi, and of course today I've got a very special guest. I've got Queenie on the channel.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's so good to be here in your apartment with all your nice furniture and fancy technology. It's good.
It's weird, like, you know, with YouTube, obviously we're doing a lot of interactions, you know, just on YouTube, but this is the first time I get to actually interact in person. It feels weird. It's like almost like fangirling or something like that, but yeah, it feels good.
I know, for me too, it's just weird because like, I've just seen you so much, obviously in your YouTube videos, and it's just weird to see you in person because you're exactly the same, like in person as you are in your YouTube videos. So I'm just like,
that's the same thing I'm getting from you. So it's like, yeah, we know each other, but we don't know each other.
It's so weird. It's so weird. What is the internet?
I know, right? But guys, today's video is about first home buyers saving up a deposit for your first home. I know a lot of people have been asking about these videos, and I thought, what better way to get into this video, into this topic, by getting Queenie on. If you guys haven't checked out her channel, Investing with Queenie, I'll have a link in the description below. You can definitely check it out. But today we're gonna pick your brain because I know you've done this, and I really wanna bring some value to my audience. So let's kick off. Like, give us your tips for how you got there.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. So I guess my first tip would be to work out how much of a deposit that you actually need and to set yourself a realistic goal. Because I think that when you are starting your journey and you do want to buy your first home, setting a goal is definitely the first step, because then it's really motivating. You'll have something to work towards. And then you can also really break up that goal into easy monthly installments as well. So you have your monthly savings goal and, you know, your yearly deposit goal as well. And then you can start making those small steps towards your goal.
And so with you starting out in that process, did you sort of go, this is our budget, this is what we're looking at, like in terms of a place to buy? Or did you go, how did you go about that? Like, did you have to go look out online and say, okay, these are the areas I really like? Is that how you did it?
Well, honestly, I kind of went to a couple of property seminars with my partner, and I guess we worked out that to buy an apartment in Sydney, we would need at least $500,000. So that was the goal. We were going to get a $100,000 deposit, and that's how we worked it out. Unfortunately, we did think initially that $100,000 would get us a lot more in Sydney. So I think it is important to definitely like look around and be realistic. Like, it would be nice to have a $2 million property, but I think, you know, at the age that we're at now, the income that we were earning, especially earlier in our 20s, it just wasn't realistic. So we definitely needed to look around, set ourselves a realistic goal.
But it's so good that like you guys were self-aware enough to go, this is our budget, we need to stick to it. I often, you know, with my buyer's agency service, it's like I'm talking to people and they really are spending way above what they can afford. And so that's where you can land yourself in trouble, right? So are you very much about spend the money that you can spend and afford and not just go above that?
Yeah, for sure. I think that the way that I grew up and just the way that I've been brought up, I'm not too flashy, you know, like I don't really need to spend a lot of money for somewhere to live. And I do try to look for value for money when I am buying real estate. So yeah, it's just, I think it's up to different people. You know, I'm somebody that's not really flashy.
Well, look, I'm the same. You know, when I started talking about real estate on my channel, people are often like, oh, you've got such a big portfolio, why do you still rent? And I'm like, there's a strategy, it's called rent vesting, and it actually works. But it's good that you're not into like, flashy things, because I think you can get really carried away. And I know I've got friends that, early in their 20s, they're spending money they don't have, and now they're sort of coming back, and they're watching our videos and they're watching other people and they're going, damn, well, like I wish I started earlier, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the key. Like, I think the key is also to get in early, and at least that's what I've noticed, because I'm so glad that I bought my property when I did, because now it's risen by $100,000.
Wow.
Like 20% in just 1 year.
Wow.
So it's like, if I waited to get a bigger deposit, to get a nicer place, I would have missed out on those like gains as well.
Yeah, correct. So did you have a 10%, 20% or 5% deposit?
20%. So
okay,
100,000.
awesome. Yep. And so you found that process, like, was it hard because it was the first time you were purchasing? Was there a lot of loopholes? Were there things that you didn't understand? You're suddenly going on Google to try and figure it out?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that the first home buyer's deposit applied to everybody, but I actually realized it only applies to brand new properties that nobody's lived in before. So that's one thing I learned. A couple of things I learned recently that I didn't know about, that I would have taken advantage of had I have started this journey again, is the first home buyer super saver scheme. So you can actually save for your first home in your super fund and withdraw those surplus funds when you're ready to buy your first home, which is awesome, because super is taxed at only 15%, whereas most of us are taxed at around 30%. So you're saving so much money there.
It's crazy because there's so many like different grants, different schemes, and it's like, how do you know which one applies to you, right? So it can be really confusing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that there isn't a lot of support. Like there obviously are these schemes available, but there's nobody really telling us like, who can apply for what. So I think it's nice that we have our channels like helping people, get access to that information.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of your journey leading into buying your first property, how did you track your expenses? Was there like, this magic formula you had, or was there an Excel? What did you use to really get to that goal?
Well, yeah, tracking expenses is definitely such an important thing to do, because before I started tracking my expenses, I didn't really know how much I was spending, and I was spending a lot more money than I really needed to be spending. So I think my philosophy when it comes to spending money is I do want to spend money on things that I love doing and things that I enjoy, because we only live once. Like we don't want to have like a boring life and miss out on things that we really want to do. But we also don't need to be making like excessive purchases on things that just don't bring us value. So I think just working out how much money you're spending and cutting out those unnecessary purchases that don't bring you value is such a good step. And setting yourself realistic savings goals. Like it might be nice to say, oh yeah, I'm going to save 90% of my income, but is that really realistic? Like you need to pay for your rent, you need to pay for your groceries, etc. So work out how much you actually can save with your salary. And if you can't save up enough for your goals, perhaps look at other ways of increasing your income, like maybe move jobs, maybe get a raise, maybe even start a side hustle to earn some extra money. Like there are so many different ways, we can get to our goal.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so glad you mentioned side hustles. This is something that, guys, if you haven't checked out her channel, she talks a lot about passive income and side hustles. So definitely go check it out. But, is there anything for like that you could leave for my audience where they're basically going, I don't know how I can find the time to start something, or I don't know how I start with a side hustle? Like, what's your 2-minute take on how to get started with that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think just working out what kind of side hustle you want to start, and something that aligns with your skills, but then also stuff that you like doing, I think is definitely the sweet spot. So yeah, just start something, it could be perhaps you're a graphic designer. Maybe you could start doing that freelance. There are so many opportunities out there. I think it's just about giving it a go, and it doesn't matter if it fails, because you'll learn something for the next time. And I think that what I've learned from starting multiple side hustles is, it's okay if some of them don't work out the way that you want it to, because the next time you do it, it'll be so much better. And I'm just so happy that I started doing side hustles early because I've learned so much, and I was able to make so much money by doing all these different side hustles. Like I did marketing, freelance, which I still do now. I have a false eyelashes business where I sell these false eyelashes through an e-commerce website, and now I also have this YouTube channel as well. So I think it is hard to find the time sometimes when you're working full time, but you can definitely make it work, you know? Like there are always times that you can work, especially if it's something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah, I've definitely found the same thing. When you're aligning yourself with doing something that you're actually passionate about, you almost feel like you're enjoying the time that you're working on that side hustle. And so I think people get so caught up going, if I start a side hustle, it needs to make $100,000. When in reality, even if it makes you like $5,000, $6,000, that's a massive jump in your overall salary, right? And that could definitely upgrade your lifestyle or pay for a holiday. I mean, we're in COVID at the moment, so probably not, but definitely would help, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like even if it's just like $1,000, that's quite a lot of money, you know? And if you were to maybe try to get a raise from a company, it's, you know, might not be a raise that you could get easily. So yeah.
Well, that's how I see it as well. It's like, in order for you to get like a $10,000 raise on a, you know, maybe you're making $60,000 or $70,000, is that really possible versus, hey, I start a side hustle and I make an extra $5,000 or $6,000 from there. Now suddenly there's not as much pressure on the job, right? And going and stressing out saying, oh my God, I'm not making enough money. And I think, especially on like YouTube or, you know, articles that you read, everyone's focusing on savings, right? It's going, I want to save more, I want to save more. But it's like, when you get to 100% of your salary and you can't save any more than that, you have to rely on extra income, right? And so with your experience, right, going from, you know, doing your full-time work and having your side hustles, what's next for you? Like, I think you had mentioned in a video that you are looking at another property. So talk me through that journey as well.
Yeah, for sure. So at the moment, I obviously have my side hustles. I've got YouTube, so that's all bringing in extra income. But I also do have investments. So I've got stocks and ETFs that I'm investing in and dividends that I have coming in. But now I'm also looking at real estate to bring in some extra passive income. And I know that there are like two theories of whether real estate is a good investment. Like you're either like, yes, I love real estate, or no, I don't like real estate, I prefer stocks. I think I'm kind of in the middle, and I'm really happy with the gains that I've made on my home. So I'm thinking of perhaps getting an investment property to bring in passive income. And it is quite a bit of work, but I think that if you can make property work, which you're definitely making property work, like your property portfolio is just pretty much paying for itself. There are so many ways that you can generate passive income without doing anything, which is real estate. So that's what I'd like to try.
No, I think it's awesome that you're diversifying. I think sometimes I fall into this trap where I'm like, oh my God, real estate is so good. I cannot like invest in anything else. But obviously I've diversified as well, not to the extent that you have, but it's awesome that you're open-minded about that. Even when I'm talking to clients and they go, oh, I'm going to spend all my money on real estate this year. I'm like, yes, you could. But I think it's more about diversification because you just don't know what's going to happen, right? So many things have happened this year and there's so much uncertainty. It's like, could you put all your eggs into one basket, or could you maybe buy a more affordable home or an investment and then use some of that money elsewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think the way I also like to see it is like my side hustles. You know, I've kind of got a few different like streams of income, and then I focus my energy on the thing that is bringing me the most joy and also bringing me the most money as well. So I'm planning to do that with my investments as well. So my stock market investments, my property investments, see how they both pan out, and maybe reevaluate after a couple of years and be like, oh, okay, well, property, you know, was the winner. I really enjoyed that. I've made so much money here. I'm going to continue doing that. Or maybe it's stocks. I don't really know. So I'm open to both scenarios.
Well, and I think on that point, it's like, you might even find that when you go to a bank and you can't get any more loans, right? You might think, okay, well, I'm glad that I invested in shares as well because I understand how it works. And now maybe if I can't get a loan for another 12 months, well, I can use that money to actually still do something with it versus sitting in my bank account, dead money, right?
Yeah.
So at least you now have the skills to go, okay, if this doesn't work, I can adapt. I can work with what I have. And I find that, you know, especially with younger people, like our generation, everyone's really fixated on this traditional way of thinking where they find one job and they have no other choice but to do it for the rest of their life. And the thing is, some of these people are very creative. They want to do other things, right? And so it's just disheartening to see that they won't take that chance. But I'm glad that they've got channels like yourself, hopefully like myself and others out there that they can start using inspiration from to go, hey, you know what? It is possible. And I think, you know, I can speak on behalf of both of us. It's, you know, us putting our portfolios out there or talking about our investments. It's not really about, hey, look at me, I'm flexing, right? It's more going, this is my source of inspiration. Hopefully this helps. It's transparency that like, I'm trying and I'm going on this journey with you, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, yeah, like we're all on this journey together and we're just regular people. Like we're not, you know, we didn't inherit heaps of money and we're not like tech billionaires. Like, you know, we're just like regular people and we made our money in pretty like regular ways that anybody can kind of replicate or take some ideas from. So yeah. I think it's awesome that, and I learned so much from my subscribers as well. I'm just like, some people, I'm like, you guys are so smart. Like I just have learned so much. So I love like hearing from other people's journeys as well.
I think it's, you know, it's so important to learn from others. And I'm glad that, you know, I think for me, I wasn't big on YouTube, like didn't watch it that much, but now that I'm getting more into it, there's such a good community here of like small Australian YouTubers. I say small, but like in 2 years' time, we're gonna be like massive, right?
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Oh my gosh, that'd be so nice.
But look, it's been such a pleasure having you on the channel. I know that you are gonna bring so much value by having people go across to your channel and watching all those videos. Like guys, if you haven't already, you should definitely subscribe to her channel, subscribe to my channel. And did you have any sort of final thoughts for the guys that are watching?
No, just keep at it, you know. Like I thought that it was impossible to save a $100,000 deposit when I started. I never had that much money in my life, but I was able to do it and to do it a lot sooner than I thought I would. So I think that if you just follow those steps and you really stick to your goals and you really believe in yourself, you can really achieve amazing things.
Guys, thank you so much for watching yet another episode of Search Property TV. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe button and head over to Queenie's channel. There's a link in the description. And of course, join the Facebook group, private Facebook group, Passive Income and Australian Real Estate Tips. I'll see you guys on the inside. Thanks, guys.